Is Men of War 2 the best real-time strategy game of 2024? Or is it just destined to become one of those forgettable games that no one really cares about because it's just not that good? Today we're going to go through the features of Men of War 2 and we're going to talk about what it's like and whether it's worth buying. And to preempt this is basically Command & Conquer Generals but much more realistic and a little bit better paced. But let's get into the features, starting off with the game modes. Men of War 2 has 4 different game modes as well as multiplayer. The 4 game modes that are available are Story, which offers you 3 different campaigns with 6 missions each that allow you to play as either the USSR, the USA or Germany. Next up we have Historical, which is large scale operations which follow the general routes of actual historical battles from the USSR, the USA, and there are also 6 bonus missions. Then we have Conquest, and for people that like games like Risk, you're going to love this game mode. Conquest puts you onto a strategic map that allows you to take attack turns and defensive turns. The basic idea is that you either attack your opponent or they attack you. You get to pick the battalion that you're going to go in with, and then you go into battle in order to either defend the area that they're attacking or attack their area to take it over and continue the battle and open up more ground. It very much plays out like a strategic map like Risk, where you just have to try to take over each area of your opposition until you take over everything and win. This is actually a really good fun game mode that I've actually spent a lot of time playing, and I really do enjoy this one. And then we have Raid, which is basically just like Quick Battle. You get started in there, you go in, it's a very quick game mode, it's good for wasting time, and it's especially good if you don't have a lot of time to spend in an actual campaign mode. When you start the game, you'll put onto a map where you have an area where your allied forces have taken over already. The general idea of the game is that you don't just build buildings and then spawn in units. You have 3 echelons of units that are available to you at the start, and these come with supply points. You'll begin with Echelon 1, which gives you the option to bring in certain soldiers or tanks, for example, in order to take you forward and gain some ground. As you continue through the mission, other echelons will unlock, which will allow you to bring in different battalions of different units. Most of the time you can just bring in new tanks and more tanks with every echelon that unlocks. What this does is bring in your units as if they're reinforcements rather than just spawning them from a building, which kind of gives a better pace to the game and makes it feel more like a wartime game. You have all of the basic controls and things that are in any other RTS game you would expect. You can select single units or multiple units and order them to go to certain places. Infantry troops have got the ability to go inside buildings, and that means that they can fire from the buildings and also reinforce the building in order to make it more of a defensible position. This is especially useful if there's a town between you and the enemy and you want to sort of set up an area where there's a choke point essentially to take out your opponents as they travel through. Tanks pretty much go and plow through nearly everything in the game, so if there's fences or walls or anything like that, your tanks will plow through it. This is something you do have to remember when you take tanks from your own base, because you can just destroy your own walls by going straight through them, which is not ideal when you want to create a defensible position and your tanks just take down the walls. Infantry soldiers also have the ability to get on certain things and mount certain weapons, like machine guns, mortars or other kind of defensible things within your base. There can be checkpoints throughout the level which will allow you to put your infantry soldiers onto defensible mounted turrets, for example, to defend an area. There are also other things like infirmaries that you can take over to allow you to heal up your troops and get back into battle faster, as well as fuel depots where you can take it over to get supplies. Most missions play out as kind of more of a domination style, where you don't necessarily have a win objective, but you essentially have to just survive against your opposition and gain more ground than them in order to win. This means taking out more and more of their units in order to get enough of an advantage in order to essentially win the battle. This is more in line with actual battles in real life, where eventually the opposition will lose enough troops that they will decide to just root and get out of there, and that means that you're the winner because they just surrender or retreat. You also have the ability to make your units move to certain positions and then face them in certain directions. This means they will fire and defend areas for you, but you can also click on enemy positions or specific troops in order to attack them from a distance. What I did find in this game is a lot of the times things like my tanks, for example, wouldn't shoot at infantry soldiers while they were approaching from a distance unless I clicked on them. Once I clicked on them, they would start opening up with their machine guns and essentially take out the soldiers from a distance. And whatever you do, do not underestimate infantry. Infantry have grenades that they can throw to take out large squads of enemies as well as tanks. You'll also find that when you're going up against the enemy, all of a sudden there may be an RPG soldier that might just blast your tanks into oblivion. And the fact that you have a line of sight in a certain area means that you can't see enemy troops out of that shroud. What this means is as you move, you'll get a line of sight on enemies that are within a certain area, but you won't be able to see them until you get into range. This can be especially difficult when you're going down city streets and you get to a corner and your line of sight opens up on that street and all of a sudden there's 6 tanks there just waiting for you. This kind of thing will make you feel that it's probably better to take an infantry soldier on their own around the corner just to check to make sure it's clear before you run around there with some of your tanks, for example. This actually makes the game much more strategic and makes you have to really think tactically when you go into battle. And aside from all those things, there is also multiplayer, which means you can play up against other players and, well, these kind of tactics are going to be things that they're going to use against you, and it's going to be very hard for you to win a game if you're not really tactical about it. Aside from PvP, there's also co-op in multiplayer, which allows you to play with other people and obviously create a tactical advantage depending on the way that you play the game. So my advice to you if you play this game would be to take single infantry soldiers around the corner. They're expendable, they're just one person, and it's much better than losing a tank or two because there's a massive battalion of tanks around the bloody corner and you don't even realise they're there until it's too late. Graphically, the game is really good. There's a lot of detail in it. All of the units are modelled on actual real units, so if you're familiar with units and tanks and things that were used in the wars, then it's something you're going to recognise very easily. And all units have been created accurately to be depicted exactly as they should be. Obviously there's the sound design as well, which is actually really good. You feel like you're in a war zone when gunfire starts opening up, and you do have the ability to zoom in quite close, which kind of puts you in the midst of all of it. Overall, as RTS games go, I think this is one of the good ones. I don't think it's necessarily going to be one of the best games out there, but if you like RTS games, then this might be something that's worth picking up. Also, as I mentioned before, if you like Risk, then the Conquest mode might be perfect for you. There are a few problems in the game, like for example when you put troops into a building, sometimes you click to get them out of it and they just don't want to leave. I've had it several times where I've sent 9 or 10 different people into a building, and then when I order them to leave, 3 or 4 of them just decide that they want to live there and they're happy and they settle down and they live happily ever after until the day they die. There are also some issues sometimes with tanks where they just decide that they want to get stuck on a wall or just kind of go forward and backwards like they're kind of dancing on the spot because they just don't want to actually fight because, you know, they're probably scared maybe, and they just decide, you know what, I don't want to really go and fight in this battle, I'm just going to chill out on this wall for a bit. But that's what they do sometimes, and it can be a bit frustrating when you have 1 or 2 tanks that just decide, you know what, I'm just going to chill at the corner of this building for a while you go and fight and the other tanks get destroyed, and you don't even realise it happened because you're not paying attention. Because with this game, you're all over the battlefield all the time. You're never watching one set of units all the time. You're always going to be moving back and forward using the mini-map. So yeah, all of a sudden you'll look at the map and realise, why are my tanks in the middle of that village? And you'll go there and they'll just be like reversing and going forward up against the corner of a building, which is kind of weird, but you know, that's the thing that happens, and I'm sure that the developers will iron out bugs like that over time, you know, and it will be something that will be improved. I come from a generation where I played games like Command & Conquer Red Alert and Tiberian Wars and things like that, and these were like the really great RTS games of those times. Generals was a pretty good game, but it kind of went a bit too realistic for what Command & Conquer was. But generally overall, I can say that Men of War 2 is actually a really good, fun, interesting game. It's slower paced than any games like Command & Conquer, so if you want something fast paced, this might not be the game for you. But if you like things to be realistic and you like simulation style games when it comes to RTS, this is going to be the game that you're going to be playing for a long time. And I would say definitely give it a go if this is your kind of game. But get down in the comments and let me know what you think of the game. Let me know if you're going to be playing it or if you are playing it already. And if you are playing it, let me know if I missed anything, because apparently, recently, I've been missing details in games. And you have to forgive me for that if I do miss a few details in the game, because I do have maybe 6 or 7 hours on each game before I have to move on to the next one, because I have a lot of games in backlog that I have to do. I do get games given to me by developers. Like Men of War 2, for example, this was given to me by the developer, and I do have to thank them for that. But what this does mean is that occasionally I do have deadlines where I have to get a game review video out by, which means I'm kind of rushed on it, unfortunately. So if you're a developer and you're watching this, feel free to give me these games before they release so that I can get a much better prepared and in-depth review done, because that would be much appreciated. And for everyone else, I am on the road to 10,000 subscribers. I need to get 10,000 subscribers, that is my goal. I have been doing this for about a year. I'm at like 1,500 subscribers at the moment. I've been growing quite comfortably. But if you do like my content and you are enjoying this video, or you have enjoyed this video, or if you come back and this is like your third or fourth time watching my videos, hit that subscribe button and hit the like button, because it actually does help me out and it helps my videos get served to more people, so more people can learn about the games that I'm reviewing. So hitting that like button would be very much appreciated. But wait, don't go yet. If this ain't your sort of game and you like something a little bit more kind of, you know, RPG style, or generally a little bit more like fantasy, then check out the video here for V Rising, which was my last video. Or if you like cute and cuddly things, check out my video for Little Kitty Big City on the screen right there. And before you leave the video because you think it's about to end, because those videos on the screen don't mean it's going to end, there's like still 20 seconds left of it, so calm down. I've been liking, green liking reviews, thank you for watching my video, and see you in the next one.